Okay guys, girls, it appears there's quite a large demand for finding out how calorie and carb cycling works to get very lean, and why it's more effective than just steady dieting. So if you've done any reading online or in magazines or any books, you'll see that the subject gets quite complex, and there's one thing that I cannot be done with is trying to boggle people's minds when all they need to know is the mechanics, how to make it work. They don't need to know all the ins and outs. So I'm going to show you and explain how it works or why it works, but in a model that will make far more sense than you've probably read before. And just to give you a little comparison, what you'll normally see when you look in magazines or online is there's a bunch of hormones that are affected by calories up and calories down, and you've got insulin, testosterone, thyroids, and basically it's a list of blah blah blah. I'm not interested in those, we're not going to go into them. I'm going to make it a lot more simple. So the first thing you need to be aware of is that whenever I'm discussing training or dieting methods, there's one thing that the body will ultimately always do, and that is it'll try and survive. It'll try and get back to a place where it's comfortable. So if you train quite aggressively, the body will try and adapt to that by getting stronger and fitter. If you do too much of it, it breaks down so much that you are unable to train because the body wants to survive, and it will stop you from doing it. And the same goes for dieting. If you diet for too long and too aggressively, the body will put a stop to it, and the fat loss will come to a grinding halt. Although with carb cycling it tends to put a little twist in the story there, and that you can continue to get leaner for a lot longer. So before I go on with this, there's a couple of pieces of kit that I need to grab, which will help me to demonstrate. So just bear with me. A red finger and a green finger. So high-tech stuff, okay? I bought these myself, had them for a long time, and also elastic bands. So this is how I'm going to explain calorie or carb cycling. So the red finger, we're going to assume that this is your metabolism, which is fixed. Beyond your weight and your activity levels, there's not much you can do to control your metabolism. It's going to be set at where it is. But also metabolism can shift depending on a few factors, which I'm going to go into. So this is your metabolism. The green finger, this is going to be your calorie or carb intake. Okay, so on a bog standard diet, or before we move on to diet, if your calories in and calories out are the same, this is what it'll look like. Calories in, calories out, both at the same level, just pull themselves along nicely, and you'll not gain weight or lose weight. It'll just be steady. So here's how most people diet, not with calorie or carb cycling, just a bog standard diet. So here's your metabolism, it's here. This is your calorie intake, that gets dropped down. So what I'm showing you here is the elastic band is me trying to show you that there is a pull on the metabolism when you drop calories down. Okay, now the leaner you are, the more aggressive this is, but for now we'll keep it simple. So there's your metabolism, there's your calories. So as time goes on, whether it's days, weeks or months, there's a pull on your metabolism, and that starts coming down, and it ends up coming way down here, and you've got a reduced metabolism. Now you'll still be losing weight, but it'll be quite slowly, and if you do this long enough, you will hit a plateau when nothing happens, and you're left with one option, which is usually to drop the calories further, and then it catches up, and it's a vicious cycle. And that's why most people begin losing weight, have some success, and then hit a sticking point, because they've done this, they've pulled the calories down, which has then pulled the metabolism down over time, and they've matched up, and they stop losing weight. So hope that makes sense. Pretty straightforward. This is where calorie and carb cycling comes in. So a bit closer for you. Red one, your metabolism. The green one, your food intake. Can't believe I've got a red and green finger. But so you pull your calories or carbs down. Okay. Then as time goes on, this starts happening. So you're still losing fat at this point, but it does start to slow down. Now before it reaches a critical stage, what you want to do is carbs and calories back up aggressively, which pulls the metabolism back up, and then drop them down again. And that starts coming down. So what you get is this pattern. So metabolism's here, which is quite high, drop the calories down as time goes on. Metabolism drops down a little bit. Carbs up. Pulls a bit of tension on the metabolism, back up to a normal place. Back down with the carbs. Metabolism drops, back up. And what happens is your metabolism does this. So it stays on an even keel and doesn't just plummet down and stay down here. So that's why you can continue to lose fat while on a carb cycling plan. Now, just in case it's not clear enough, just got a little bit here on the board which might help explain. A normal diet, so I'll use the same colours. So if we assume that this is time and the red one's your metabolism. So if we go for the food intake first, the calorie intake, what you've got is most people drop their calories down to around here and they'll keep the calories down there for an extended period of time. But what happens is, at first, the metabolism's still here on this line. So the metabolism, at first it's okay, then the metabolism starts dropping, starts coming down and down and down, and then basically the difference between your metabolism and your food intake is so small that you're not losing too much weight, if any, at some point. So that's a bog standard diet, and as you can see, that's why it leads to trouble. So carb cycling, this is where the magic happens. So your food intake, you drop your carbs and calories down, okay, so it puts you in a deficit. So I'll stop there for now. Hope you can see this. And then, so your metabolism starts off here and then starts dropping down, okay? So rather than letting the metabolism stay low down, what you would then do is spike the calorie and carbs up and then down again. Take it back up, down again. And this is what happens. So your metabolism starts slowing down a little bit, and then when you get the refeed, it perks back up to its normal level, and then slowly starts dropping down again. Put the carbs up, metabolism comes back up, slowly starts. So as you can see, the metabolism does slowly start coming down, but you're interrupting that pattern by putting the carbs back up. So that's how you can maintain fat loss continuously by doing carb cycling. Doesn't matter what the hormones that are being manipulated and all these blah blah blahs, that's not important to you guys, that's important for me to learn, so I can then take that information and make it more simple for you by painting my fingers green and red. So if you've got any questions, if it's still not clear enough, then send in a comment and I'll do my best to modify this and make it a little bit easier. But to recap, normal diet, drop your calories down. Over a certain period of time your metabolism will drop down to compensate, because the body does not like to be uncomfortable, and it will get to the point where fat loss becomes very slow and often stops. Carb cycling, drop the calories and carbs down, the metabolism will start slowing down, pick the carbs back up, metabolism resets itself, go again. Just keep repeating that cycle until you get to the leanness that you want to be at. One more thing, there is various levels of carb cycling, more aggressive approaches, but just keep one thing in mind. If you've got a lot of weight to lose, the normal diet will work for quite a long bit of time. If you're quite lean already, so I would say about 11-12% body fat, then you need to start thinking about carb cycling, because it does get trickier. If you're in the single digit body fats, then by far the best method is the carb cycling. You can get very lean just with a steady deficit and not having to carb cycle, but the chance of losing muscle does go up. So carb cycling is the best way when it comes to fat loss while maintaining muscle tissue. So hope that clears things up for you.
Like a diamond, shine bright like a diamond.